Welcome to Zarila HOA Stories. Drop your country or city name in comments. The sun hung low over the hills like a golden coin, spilling light across 20 acres of untouched land. My land. I've been searching for 2 years, driving past cookie-cutter subdivisions with identical beige boxes and plastic lawns, until I found this place. Zarila Ridge Estates. The sign read, half hidden under kudzu. The realtor, a wiry man named Dale with a mustache like a push broom, handed me the keys with a grin. Best kept secret in the county, he said. HOA's been asleep since '98. You'll never hear a peep. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? The deed was clean, the survey pinned every boundary, and the creek that cut through the back 5 acres was marked in blue ink, property of grantee. My kids, Lila, 10, and Milo, 7, ran wild the first day, chasing fireflies until their sneakers glowed green. I stood on the porch of the old farmhouse, coffee steaming in my hand, and thought, asterisk, this is it. Freedom, asterisk. The bridge idea came on a rainy Thursday. Lila wanted a tree house in the big oak on the far bank, but the creek swelled knee-deep after storms. Milo refused to cross in galoshes. Feels like quicksand, he whined. I sketched a simple span on a napkin, 12 feet long, reclaimed cedar from the demolished barn down the road, rope rails for the kids to grip. Nothing fancy. No permits needed for a footbridge under 20 feet, county rules said. I called Tommy Ruiz, a carpenter I'd met at the feed store. For days, max, he promised. I'll even stain it to match the oak. We started Monday. Tommy's truck rattled up the gravel drive at dawn, loaded with timber that smelled like vanilla and pine. The kids helped carry boards, giggling when splinters pricked their fingers. By Wednesday, the frame stood proud, planks laid like piano keys across the water. I hammered the final nail at sunset, the creek murmuring approval below. Lila christened it Dragon's Tail Bridge, with a sharp flourish on the first board. We roasted marshmallows on the far bank that night, the structure glowing under string lights I'd strung from the oak. Perfect. Thursday morning, the mailman left a thick envelope wedged in the box. Certified. Return receipt. My name in block letters. I tore it open on the porch steps. Notice of violation. Zarila Ridge Estates Homeowners Association. Property. Lot 17, 1847 Creekman Way. Violation. Unauthorized permanent structure over natural water feature. Fine. $350.00. Action required. Remove within 7 days or face daily penalties. Contact Karen Whitmore, President. I read it twice, then laughed. An HOA? Here? Dale's words echoed. Asterisk asleep since '98. Asterisk I flipped the page. A single color photo. My bridge, taken from the far bank, the kids' string lights twinkling like evidence. Someone had been on my land. At night, I dialed the number at the bottom. A woman answered on the second ring, voice crisp as fall apples. Zarila HOA, President Whitmore speaking. This is Jonah Hale, Lot 17. I got your letter. A pause like she was checking a list. Mr. Hale, the bridge violates Covenant 14B. All water crossings require. I own the creek. It's on my deed. Deeded water still falls under community aesthetic guidelines. The fine stands. Click. I stood there, phone hot in my hand, staring at Dragon's Tail Bridge. The cedar gleamed, innocent. The kids were inside, arguing over who got the top bunk in the treehouse. I folded the letter into a paper airplane and launched it into the creek. It floated then sank. That night, I couldn't sleep. Headlights swept across the ceiling at 1:03 a.m. Slow, deliberate. A white SUV idled at the edge of my property, high beams fixed on the bridge. I grabbed binoculars. A woman stepped out, clipboard glowing under the dome light. She snapped photos, then drove off. The license plate, KRNHOA 1. Friday, I found a new envelope. Same certified sticker. This one had a sticker too, a neon yellow post-it. Asterisk, removed by 5 p.m. or fine doubles. See you at the meeting. Asterisk taped inside was a single playing card, the Queen of Spades. I pinned it to the fridge next to Lila's drawing of the bridge. Underneath, in red crayon, asterisk dragons live here. Asterisk. Little did I know, the dragon was just waking up. I left the Queen of Spades on the fridge like a dare. Saturday morning, I loaded the kids into the truck and drove to the Zarila Ridge Clubhouse, a squat cinderblock box wedged between two empty lots, paint peeling like sunburned skin. The parking lot held 3 cars, a white Escalade with HOA 1 plates, a dented minivan, and a golf cart wrapped in caution tape. A hand-painted banner drooped over the door. Emergency Covenant Meeting, Lot 17 Violator. Inside smelled of burnt coffee and mildew. Folding chairs formed a semicircle around a card table draped in burgundy velvet, like someone looted a funeral home. Karen Whitmore stood at the head, hair sculpted into a silver helmet, blouse the color of caution signs. 2 men flanked her. Harold Howe, Greeley, treasurer, mustache twitching like a nervous squirrel, and Victor Lang, secretary, who kept adjusting wire-rimmed glasses that magnified his eyes to cartoon size. 23 residents filled the seats, mostly retirees in pastel polos, clutching manila folders like life rafts. My kids waved at Mrs. Delgado from Lot 9. She pretended not to see them. Karen tapped a gavel car from Driftwood. Thwack. Order. Item 1. Unauthorized bridge, Lot 17. She clicked a remote. A projector coughed to life, splashing my dragon's tail bridge across the wall, kids' string lights blinking like guilty stars. Mr. Jonah Hale, she began, voice syrupy, built this monstrosity without submitting Form 12B, architectural review application, or paying the $75 review fee. I raised a hand. I own the creek. Deed page 4, parcel B2. No easement listed. Hal cleared his throat. Easement was recorded in 98, Mr. Hale. Amendment 17C, scenic preservation. Never got a copy. Victor slid a binder across the table. 47 pages thick, tabs color-coded like a psychopath's rainbow. Page 12 glowed neon. Asterisk, all water crossings, temporary or permanent, require pre-approval by the Aesthetic Integrity Committee. Asterisk. Karen smiled. You have 7 days. Remove the structure. Pay the $350 fine, or we lien your property. A murmur rippled. Mrs. Delgado stood. My late husband paid dues for 30 years. Never saw this committee. Sit down, Marjorie, Karen hissed. I opened my phone, hit record. For the record, I requested covenant documents at closing. Dale Rooker said the HOA was dormant. Hal's mustache drooped. Dale's not president, but he sold me the lot. Under what authority do you enforce rules no one received? Karen's smile thinned. Ignorance isn't. The door banged open. Tommy Ruiz stormed in, sawdust on his boots, eyes wild. They threatened my license. He waved a cease and desist letter. Ruiz Carpentry. Immediately halt work on Lot 17 or face $10,000 penalty. Gasps. Phones rose like periscopes. Karen recovered. Mr. Ruiz violated contractor guidelines. Tommy laughed, bitter. I built your gazebo, Karen. The one with the hidden bar. Silence. Victor's glasses slid down his nose. I stood. Let's vote. Who here actually received the full covenants before buying? Hands crept up. 359. Mrs. Delgado's trembled highest. Karen slammed the gavel. Crack. The driftwood split. Meeting adjourned. But the room didn't move. Someone whispered, my dues went up 40% last year. I leaned in. Then let's see the books. Karen gathered her binder like a mother hen. Financials are members only. Pretty sure I'm a member, I said. I paid $600 last month. Hal coughed. Technically, dues are voluntary until covenants are ratified annually. Karen shot him a look that could curdle milk. Outside, the kids waited on the golf cart. Lila held a new envelope, this one sealed with red wax, a tiny crown embossed. Inside, a single Polaroid, my bridge at night, red X spray painted across the planks. On the back, in Sharpie, asterisk 5 p.m. Friday. Or we remove it for you. Asterisk. Tommy clapped my shoulder. They can't touch private property without court order. Watch them try, I said. That afternoon, I drove to the county clerk. The 1998 amendment existed, all right, filed by Zarila Ridge Preservation, LLC. a company dissolved in 2004. Signatory, Karen M. Whitmore, age 34. Current address, Lot 1, the mansion on the hill no one ever saw her leave. I photocopied everything. On the way home, I stopped at the hardware store, bought a sheet of plywood, stencils, and neon orange paint. By dusk, a sign stood at the bridge entrance. Asterisk private property. Trespassers will be documented. Asterisk. At 10:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A voice distorted. Take the sign down, Mr. Hale, or the next photo won't be of wood. I saved the voicemail. Then I installed 4 trail cams, motion activated, for K, cloud backup. The creek babbled beneath the bridge like it knew secrets. Sunday morning, the sign was gone. In its place, a single garden gnome, painted black, eyes scratched out, a noose around its neck. Lila found it first. Daddy, why is the gnome sad? I didn't answer. I was too busy zooming in on the trail cam footage. 2:13 a.m., white Escalade, Karen behind the wheel, Hal in the passenger seat holding bolt cutters. Monday, I mailed copies of the footage to every homeowner, Karen's face circled in red. Subject line, who's the real violator? Tuesday, my mailbox held a brick wrapped in the orange plywood sign, splintered. Attached note, you're next. Wednesday, the kids' tree house burned. Just the platform, a controlled flash, gone in minutes. Fire marshal ruled suspicious origin. No prints, but the trail cam caught it. A figure in a hoodie, gasoline can glinting under the moon. Height, 5 feet 6 inches. Karen's exact stature. Thursday, I didn't sleep. I sat on the porch with a shotgun across my lap, coffee gone cold. At 3:07 a.m., headlights crept up the drive. No engine sound, electric. The Escalade again. It stopped 50 yards out. High beams flared, then reversed, slow, deliberate. Friday, 4:59 p.m. A tow truck rumbled in, flatbed empty, driver in sunglasses despite the gloom. He hooked chains to the bridge supports. I stepped out, phone live streaming to a private Facebook group I created overnight, 112 members and growing. Touch 1 board. I called, and you're on camera for felony destruction of property. The driver hesitated. His radio crackled. Karen's voice, tinny, asterisk stand down. Asterisk. He unhooked the chains. Backed away. The bridge stood, scarred but unbroken. That night, I printed the livestream thumbnail for 1,000 views in 6 hours and taped it over the Queen of Spades on the fridge. Underneath, in Lila's red crayon, asterisk dragons breathe fire. We breathe truth. Asterisk. Karen had drawn first blood, but the war was just beginning. Friday bled into Saturday, with the taste of smoke still on the air. The treehouse platform was a black skeleton against the dawn, its ropes dangling like nooses. Fire marshal's report came by email. Accelerant confirmed. High-grade charcoal lighter fluid, hardware store brand. I printed it, slid it into a manila folder labeled evidence, and drove to the county courthouse before the coffee shops opened. The clerk, a woman named Marisol with purple streaks in her braid, recognized me from the hardware store. "You're the bridge guy," she whispered, sliding the 1998 amendment across the counter. The paper was brittle, edges curled like dead leaves. I traced the signature. Karen M. Whitmore, managing member, Zarila Ridge Preservation, LLC. The LLC had dissolved in 2004 for failure to file annual reports. Translation, it was a ghost. Yet the easement lived on, a zombie clause buried in fine print. I asked for every document with Karen's name. Marisol disappeared into the vault and returned with a banker's box. Inside, quitclaim deeds, lien releases, and a 2001 memo from the original developer to all lot owners announcing the HOA's temporary suspension pending reorganization. No one I'd spoken to had ever seen it. Back home, I spread the papers across the kitchen table like a crime scene map. The kids were at my sister's, safer that way. I brewed coffee strong enough to wake the dead and started cross-referencing. The easement granted the HOA perpetual scenic rights over all natural water features, including the creek on my deed. But the fine print had a poison pill, enforceable only by a duly elected board under active bylaws. I flipped to the bylaws. last ratified in 1997, expired 2002. Karen's entire reign was built on vapor. At 2:14 p.m. my phone buzzed. Unknown number, local prefix. I answered on speaker. Mr. Hale. Karen's voice, silk over razor wire. You're digging in places you shouldn't. Public records are public, Karen. A soft laugh. Some records are curated, like the one showing your bridge violates EPA wetlands guidelines. My creek's not a wetland. It's a Class 3 intermittent stream. I have the hydrology report. Silence. Then, remove the structure by Monday, or the county gets an anonymous tip. Fines start at $10,000 per day. Click. I stared at the phone. EPA? The creek was ankle deep in summer. I opened my laptop, pulled up the Army Corps of Engineers database, and typed my coordinates. Result: no jurisdictional waters. I screenshot it, saved it to the cloud, and printed 3 copies. Sunday, I knocked on doors. Lot 9, Mrs. Delgado, offered lemon bars and a story. Her husband had paid dues into a reserve fund that vanished after he died. Lot 14, the Nguyen's, showed me a 2018 letter threatening foreclosure over a $200 late fee. Lot 22, a young couple with a toddler, admitted they'd never received covenants. Only a welcome packet with Karen's headshot and a QR code that led to a PayPal link. By dusk, I had 23 signatures on a petition, demand for full financial audit and covenant ratification vote. I scanned it, uploaded to the private Facebook group, now 187 members, and scheduled a town hall for the following Saturday. Monday, 6:03 a.m. A drone buzzed over the bridge, red light blinking. I stepped outside in boxers and boots, waving a broom like a lunatic. The drone dipped, camera zooming, then shot upward and vanished beyond the ridge. 10 minutes later, an email from zerleraghoa@gmail.com. A PDF titled Violation Escalation. Lot 17. Inside, drone photos of my bridge with red circles around every nail, captioned structural hazards. The fine was now $1,400, with a lien notice attached. I forwarded the email to the group. Replies flooded in. They flew a drone over MY Koi Pond last month. I found a tracker on my husband's truck. Check your attic. Mine had a camera. That afternoon, I climbed into my own attic. Nothing. But in the crawl space beneath the porch, I found a black box the size of a deck of cards, wires snaking into the foundation. A quick Google. GSM listening device, 30-day battery. I left it in place, but wrapped the microphone in electrical tape and foam. Let them hear static. Tuesday, I visited Tommy Ruiz at his workshop. He was sanding a Cedar Hope chest, eyes bloodshot. They froze my business account, he said. Claim I owe HOA contractor dues from 2016. I wasn't even licensed then. I showed him the petition. He signed in block letters, then handed me a flash drive. Security footage from my dash cam. August 12th. Karen loading boxes into her Escalade at 3 a.m. Labels read, HOA Archives. I plugged the drive into my laptop. Grainy night vision. Karen and Hal wrestling bankers boxes into the SUV. One labeled 1998 to 2004 financial ledger. They drove off toward the ridge. Wednesday, I hiked the ridge trail at sunrise. Halfway up, a rusted gate blocked an old service road. Beyond it, a prefab shed padlocked, windows painted black. Tire tracks in the mud matched the Escalade's tread pattern. I snapped photos, GPS stamped, and emailed them to the group with a single line. What's Karen hiding? Thursday, the power went out at 11:47 p.m. Not a storm, selective. Only my lot. I lit candles, checked the breaker. Fine. Outside, the meter spun backward. Someone had rigged a bypass. I called the power company. They sent a tech at dawn. He found a remote switch hidden in the transformer box, wired to a burner phone. The phone's call log. One number, dialed 47 times. Karen's. Friday, 4:59 p.m., 1 minute before her original deadline. I received a certified letter. Inside, a court summons. Zarila Ridge Estates, HOA v. Jonah Hale. Hearing, Monday, 9 a.m. Judge, Honorable Gerald Whitmore. Karen's brother-in-law. I laughed until I cried. Then I called a lawyer friend from college, now a bulldog in probate law. She owed me a favor after I fixed her deck post-divorce. "Send me everything," she said. "And Jonah? Bring popcorn." Saturday, 7 a.m. The clubhouse parking lot overflowed. Residents carried lawn chairs, coolers, and one guy a full-size grill. Someone had strung Christmas lights across the sagging banner. Now reading emergency town hall, bring receipts. Inside, Karen stood alone at the card table, velvet cloth replaced by a bare folding surface. No Hal, no Victor, just her, clutching a legal pad like a shield. I took the floor, projected the drone photos, the listening device, the ledger label. Then the kicker, a 2003 tax return for Zarila Ridge Preservation, LLC, signed by Karen, claiming $87,000 in consulting fees paid to herself. The room erupted. Someone shouted, "Where's our money?" Mrs. Delgado waved her lemon bar plate like a gavel. Karen tried to speak, but her microphone had been unplugged by Hal, who stood in the back, arms crossed, nodding at me. Vote called on the spot. Dissolve current board. Appoint interim counsel. Freeze all fines. Unanimous. Karen's face went the color of wet ash. She gathered her pad, walked out. The Escalade peeled away, kicking gravel like buckshot. Sunday, I rebuilt the treehouse platform, higher, stronger, with a rope ladder the kids could pull up. Lila painted a new sign. Dragon's Tail 2.0. Trespassers become snacks. Monday, the courtroom was packed. Karen's lawyer requested a continuance. Denied. My lawyer laid out the expired bylaws, the ghost LLC, the forged meter switch. Judge Whitmore, Gerald, looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Case dismissed with prejudice. HOA ordered to pay my legal fees. But the Real win came Tuesday when an unmarked van pulled up at dawn. 2 men in windbreakers, State Attorney General, Fraud Division. They carried a warrant for the shed on the ridge. Inside, 47 bankers' boxes, ledgers, dues logs, and one file marked Jonah Hale, remove at all costs. Karen's reign was over, but the boxes held secrets that would burn the whole ridge down. Monday, 11:47 p.m. The creek was a black ribbon under the half moon, Dragon's Tail Bridge glowing faintly from the solar rope lights Lila insisted on. I sat on the porch in a camping chair, thermos of coffee gone cold hours ago, shotgun across my lap like a sleeping cat. Trail cams blinked red every 30 seconds. 4 angles for K, cloud backup, motion triggered. I'd named them after the kids' stuffed animals, Mr. Flops, Sir Barks, Pinky, and Doom Bunny. At 12:03 a.m., the first alert hit my phone. Doom Bunny, Sector 3 to 3 heat signatures. I opened the live feed. 3 figures in black hoodies and reflective safety vests crept along the far bank, flashlights sweeping like prison searchlights. One carried a metal detector the size of a pizza box. Another held a clipboard with a glowing tablet. The third, shorter, purposeful, pointed at the bridge supports and made a slicing motion across her throat. Karen. I slipped on noise-canceling earmuffs, grabbed a bullhorn I'd bought at an estate sale, and stepped into the yard. Crickets hushed. Even the creek seemed to listen. Private property. The bullhorn boomed, voice distorted into Darth Vader's evil twin. Smile for the cameras. The figures froze. Flashlights spun toward me. I hit the floodlights, 500 watts of LED daylight. Karen's face lit up like a mugshot. Mascara smudged, lips painted the color of fresh blood. Hal Greeley shielded his eyes, mustache quivering. Victor Lang dropped the metal detector. It clattered against a rock with a metallic gong. Routine compliance check, Karen called, voice cracking like thin ice. Turn those off. Routine at midnight. I stepped closer, phone live streaming to the private Facebook group. Now, 312 members, 87 watching live. Smile, Karen. You're trending. The chat exploded. Is that a metal detector? They're trespassing. Tag the sheriff. I'll tug Karen's sleeve. We should go. But Victor was already kneeling, sweeping the detector over a support beam. It beeped, shrill, triumphant. Unpermitted ferrous hardware, he crowed, holding up a rusted bolt like Excalibur. This violates Covenant 19F, non-organic fasteners and scenic viewscapes. I zoomed the phone camera. That bolt from 1942. Barn demolition. Invoices time-stamped. Wanting to read the serial number. Victor's magnified eyes darted to Karen. She snatched the bolt, hurled it into the creek. Splash. I hit record on a second device, body cams strapped under my jacket. For the record, HOA president just littered in a protected waterway. Penalty starts at $500. Karen's smile returned, colder now. You're live streaming on private property. Bridge is mine. Bank-to-bank deed. You're standing on lot 17. She glanced at the GoPro I'd zip-tied under the handrail 2 days ago. Lens pointed straight at her face. Red light blinking. I'd hardwired it to a car battery. It could run for weeks. Hal whispered something. Karen's eyes narrowed. She reached into her vest, pulled out a canister. Pepper spray? Bear mace? No, orange survey paint. She shook it like a maraca and sprayed a giant X across the cedar planks. Hisses. The smell hit me 20 feet away, acetone and rage. Condemned, she declared. Effective immediately. The chat went feral. Vandalism. Sue her. Someone called Channel 9. I dialed Sheriff Delgado, Mrs. Delgado's nephew, on speaker. Hey, Mike. Got trespassers defacing property. Sending live feed. Karen lunged for my phone. I sidestepped. She stumbled, heel catching on a root. I caught her arm. Victor was already retreating, metal detector dragging behind like a guilty dog. Sirens in the distance, close, fast. Mike lived 5 miles out. He'd been waiting for my text. Karen's Escalade was parked on the service road, hazard lights blinking like a guilty heartbeat. She bolted for it, Hal and Victor scrambling after. I panned the camera. License plate KRN HOA 1, paint still wet on the bridge. The cruiser skidded to a stop, red-blue lights painting the trees. Mike stepped out, hat low, flashlight beam pinning Karen mid-stride. Evening, Ms. Whitmore. His voice carried the weight of every family reunion she'd ruined. Step away from the vehicle. She froze. This is HOA business. HOA doesn't have jurisdiction at midnight with spray paint. He glanced at the bridge, the X dripping like blood. That's criminal mischief. Minimum. Hal started babbling about emergency aesthetic enforcement. Mike cuffed him first, standard procedure for the one holding the metal detector. Victor surrendered his tablet without a fight. Karen stood rigid as Mike read her rights, paint canister bagged as evidence. I offered the body cam footage. Mike grinned. YouTube's gonna love this. By 1:30 a.m., the tow truck arrived. Not to remove my bridge, but Karen's Escalade. Impound lot special. The bridge stood scarred but defiant. Orange X glowing under the floodlights like war paint. At 2:07 a.m., the live stream hit 100,000 views. Someone superimposed dragon wings on the bridge gif. Hashtag DragonTail Tango trended locally. Karen's last words as Mike closed the cruiser door. This isn't over, Hale. I waved. See you in court. Bring receipts. Tuesday, 6 a.m. The X wouldn't come off with mineral spirits. I tried acetone, goof off, even gasoline. The paint had bonded to the cedar like a curse. Lila traced the lines with her finger. It looks like a superhero logo, she said. I sanded it smooth, restained the planks darker, burnt umber, almost black. Milo hammered a brass plaque into the new wood. Dragon's Tail Bridge. Built 2025. Vandalized 2025. Still standing. Trespassers will be toasted. Tuesday noon, a courier delivered a thick envelope. Return address. Whitmore and Associates, LLC. Inside, a cease and desist claiming I'd slander the HOA with defamatory livestream content. Demand. Remove all videos, pay $50,000 in reputational damages, or face lawsuit. I laughed so hard the courier asked if I needed water. Tuesday, 3:14 p.m. Channel 9 news van pulled up. Reporter named Jenna Valdez. Hair perfect even in humidity. Mr. Hale, care to comment on the viral midnight HOA raid? I handed her a flash drive. Full unedited footage. Plus the fake arsenic report, the drone trespass, and a listening device under my porch. Knock yourself out. By 6 p.m., the story led the evening news. Hashtag Karen versus the bridge exploded. A local brewery released a limited IPA. Dragon's Tail Stout. Tastes like justice. 7.7% ABV. Wednesday, 8:03 a.m. A moving truck backed into Karen's driveway on Lot 1. Men in navy polos loaded bankers' boxes, dozens of them. One slipped, split open. Papers fluttered. Dues logs, lien notices, a ledger labeled Slush Fund 2019 to 2025. A kid on a bike snatched a page before the movers could grab it. He biked straight to my porch, handed it over like contraband. Page 47. Bridge removal contingency. $8,500. Paid to Ridgeview Demo Incorporated. Date. 3 days before I broke ground. I scanned it, uploaded to the group. Caption. They planned to tear it down before it existed. Wednesday night, the Facebook group hit 1,200 members. Someone started a GoFundMe. Legal defense for Dragon's Tail. Goal, $10,000. Raised, $28,473 in 6 hours. Thursday, 4:20 a.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered, voice recorder on. Take the money and walk away, Karen whispered. Background noise. Airport announcements. Delete the videos. Drop the charges. Or the next fire won't stop at the treehouse. Click. I saved the voicemail, forwarded it to Mike, Jenna, and my lawyer. Then I installed sprinklers along the bridge, motion activated, tied to a 500-gallon tank. Just in case. Thursday, 9 a.m. The State Attorney General's office called. Mr. Hale? We'd like to see those bankers' boxes. I smiled at the bridge. The dragon wasn't sleeping anymore. Thursday, 5:17 a.m. I hadn't slept. The voicemail from Karen looped in my skull like a bad ringtone. The next fire won't stop at the treehouse. I sat at the kitchen table, laptop glowing, coffee number 4 turning a tar in a mug. The GoFundMe ticker blinked. $41,238 and climbing. Someone had donated $500 with a note for the sprinklers. Burn the HOA, not the bridge. At 5:43 a.m., the first national ping hit. BuzzFeed News. Midnight HOA squad versus Dad's dream bridge. You won't believe what happens next. Thumbnail. Karen mid-spray paint. Mouth open like a screaming emoji. By 6:02 a.m. the clip was on TikTok. A 17-year-old with neon hair stitched my live stream with dragon roar sound effects. 1.2 million views in 42 minutes. Caption. POV. Your HOA declares war on joy. I refreshed the private Facebook group. 4,837 members. Someone changed the banner to the bridge with glowing eyes. A poll. What should we name the movement? First place. Dragon's Tail Rebellion. 89%. 6:30 a.m. Jenna Valdez from Channel 9 called. Jonah, we're live at 7. Can you do the bridge at sunrise? I looked out the window. Fog rolled off the creek like dragon breath. Perfect. 6:55 a.m. I carried 2 lawn chairs to the bridge, set up a card table, and laid out evidence like a garage sale from hell. The fake arsenic report, the listening device photo, the ledger page dated before I built anything, the voicemail transcript. Lila added a bowl of lemon bars. Mrs. Delgado's recipe, now weaponized. 7 a.m. sharp, Jenna went live. Good morning, America. Wait, no. Good morning, Zarilla Ridge. I'm standing on a now infamous Dragon's Tail Bridge with homeowner Jonah Hale. I waved. Milo photobombed in dinosaur pajamas. Jenna held up the ledger page. Viewers, this document shows the HOA budgeted $8,500 to demolish a bridge that didn't exist yet. Mr. Hale, your reaction? I leaned into the mic. They declared war on a dream. We just showed up with receipts. Chat on a live stream scrolled so fast it blurred. Sue them into the Cretaceous. Where do I buy the beer? Hashtag free the bridge. 7:12 a.m. Karen's face appeared on a rival station, pre-recorded, filmed in what looked like an airport lounge. She wore sunglasses indoors. This is a coordinated smear campaign by a rogue homeowner. The bridge remains a safety hazard. Cut to stock footage of a collapsing rope bridge in Nepal. Subtle. 7:15 a.m. Twitter, sorry, X exploded. Hashtag Karen versus the bridge hit number 3 trending worldwide. A meme factory churned. Karen's spray paint face on Thanos, on Voldemort, on the Wicked Witch. Someone deep-faked her into Game of Thrones. I am the HOA. I will take what is mine with fire and fines. 8:03 a.m. The brewery texted, Dragon's Tail Stout sold out. Printing 10,000 more cans. Your face on the label. Okay. I sent a thumbs-up emoji and a photo of the bridge at sunrise. 8:17 a.m. A black SUV with government plates rolled up the gravel drive. 2 agents, windbreakers, no smiles. Mr. Hale? State Attorney General's Office, Fraud Division. We need the originals. I handed over the banker's box I'd kept sealed since the kid on the bike delivered the ledger page. They signed a chain of custody form. One agent paused at the bridge. Nice work. My dad built something like this when I was 6. HOA made him tear it down. I'm buying the beer. 9:10 a.m. Karen deleted the HOA's Facebook page. Too late. Archives lived forever. Screenshots flooded Reddit's r/HOA hell. Front page, 44K upvotes. 10:05 a.m. GoFundMe hit $100,000. I froze donations, redirected surplus to a legal aid fund for other homeowners. Named Dragon's Tail Defense Fund. 11:11 a.m. A drone buzzed overhead. Professional, not Karen's toy. Call sign on the side. CNN. They wanted aerials. I waved them in. Noon. The bridge became a pilgrimage site. Cars lined the road. People left flowers, toy dragons, handwritten notes. A little girl in a wheelchair rolled up with her dad. He'd driven 4 hours. My HOA won't let me build a ramp. You gave me hope. I knelt, tied a purple ribbon to the handrail. Lila added a sharpest signature. Ramp equals bridge. Same fight. 1:07 p.m. Karen's lawyer issued a statement. Ms. Whitmore is taking a leave of absence for personal reasons. Translation, running. 2:30 p.m. A moving company returned to Lot 1. This time, no banker's boxes, just suitcases and a single cat carrier. The cat hissed at the camera crew across the street. 3:45 p.m. I received a DM from an account with no profile pic. Check the shed on the ridge. Key under the fake rock. You're welcome. I hiked up at dusk with Tommy Ruiz and Sheriff Mike. The shed door hung open. Inside, empty shelves, fresh tire tracks, and one sticky note on the wall. Gone fishing. Okay, but the floorboards were loose. We pried them up. Beneath, a fireproof safe, combination lock. Tommy grinned. I installed this in 2019. She never changed the code. He spun 0-3-1-7, Karen's birthday. Click. Inside, 17 flash drives labeled by year. A ledger titled Off-Book Reserves, $1.4 million unaccounted. A plane ticket. Zarila Ridge, Costa Rica, one way, dated tomorrow. A burner phone with one outgoing text. If I go down, the ridge burns. We bagged everything. Mike called it in. 7 p.m. National news led with the safe. Jenna Valdez live from the ridge. Sources confirmed the HOA president fled the country as evidence of embezzlement surfaced. 8:15 p.m. The Facebook group hit 10,000 members. Someone started a petition to rename the creek Dragon's Tail Waters. 8,000 signatures in an hour. 9:02 p.m. My phone rang, private number. I answer on speaker, live streaming to the group. Karen's voice, distorted by airport noise. You think you won? That money bought silence. Judges, inspectors, the sheriff. Mike leaned in. Ma'am, this is Sheriff Delgado. Your flight's grounded. Federal warrant just dropped. Embezzlement, wire fraud, arson. Pick a terminal. We'll meet you. Click. Dial tone. 10 p.m. FBI took over the case. The safe was evidence. The bridge was a symbol. 11:11 p.m. I stood on the bridge alone. The orange X had faded to rust under the new stain, but if you looked close, it formed wings. I tied a lantern to the highest rope light. It swayed in the breeze like a heartbeat. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Tell the dragon hello. A friend. I looked up. Across the creek, In the treehouse window, a silhouette waved. Mrs. Delgado, holding a fresh plate of lemon bars. The rebellion wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to every kid who ever wanted a treehouse, every parent who fought a clipboard. Tomorrow the feds would come. Tonight the bridge stood guard. I whispered to the water, "We're just getting started." Friday, 4:03 a.m. The feds sealed the ridge shed with yellow tape that glowed like caution in my headlights. I hadn't slept. The lantern on the bridge still swung, casting gold ripples across the creek. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown sender, no text, just a 47-second audio file. I pressed play. Static. Then a whisper. Voice scrambled through a modulator. Mailbox. Dawn. Don't let them bury it. Click. I grabbed a flashlight and walked the quarter-mile to the community boxes at the subdivision entrance. Mine, Lot 17, was stuffed with the usual junk: pizza coupons, political flyers, and one plain manila envelope. No stamp, my name in block letters. Inside, a single USB drive wrapped in bubble tape and a sticky note. Copy. Delete. Disappear. I raced home, plugged it into an air-gapped laptop I kept for taxes. The drive auto-opened to a folder. Names are HOA, True, Ledger, 2015-2025. 312 Excel sheets. .4. 117 scanned receipts. .1 video file. Karen_confession_ 2023 to MP4. I started with the spreadsheets. Line items hit like punches. Consulting $12,000 Whitmore Horticulture LLC, K. Whitmore, sole prop. July 19th, 2020 bridge removal contingency, $8,500 Ridgeview Demo Incorporated. Paid 3 days before my build. November 4th, 2021 pool resurfacing, $42,000 Elite Aquatics. Quote attached. Actual cost $9,800. June 30th, 2022 legal retainer, $75,000 Whitmore and Associates, Karen's cousin. December 1st, 2023 holiday lights contract, $18,000 Zarela Holiday Glow, Karen's sister, DBA. Every overpayment funneled back to a Whitmore. Total skim, $1,397,446. The video was worse. Grainy basement cam. Timestamp April 17th, 2023, 2:11 a.m. Karen sat at a folding table, wine glass in hand, talking to someone off-screen. The bridge guy's a problem. Budgeted demo last year, but he actually built the damn thing. I want to burn it. I say we lean him into bankruptcy. Either way, the reserve stays intact. Laughter. Glass clink. Fade to black. I made 3 encrypted backups, uploaded one to a dead man server scheduled to email the FBI, the AG, and Channel 9 if I didn't check in every 24 hours. Then I printed the smoking gun pages, 47 of them, on neon paper so bright it hurt. 5:30 a.m. I texted the core group, Mrs. Delgado, Tommy, then Gwen's Sheriff Mike Clubhouse. 7 a.m. bring coffee and pitchforks. 6:45 a.m. 37 residents crowded the peeling cinderblock room. I projected the ledger onto the wall like a crime scene slideshow. Gasps turned to growls. Mrs. Delgado stood on a chair, 83 years old, voice steady as steel. That pool money was supposed to fix my Arthur's Memorial bench. It's still cracked. I passed out the neon pages. Every line item has a receipt. Every receipt has a Whitmore. Tommy raised his hand. Ridgeview Demo? That's my cousin's company. He never got the $8,500. Check bounced. The room erupted. Someone started a chant. Show us the books. 7:12 a.m. Hal Greeley slipped in the side door, face gray, mustache drooping like wet spaghetti. He carried a banker's box labeled, HOA Archives, do not open. I smiled. Perfect timing, Hal. Open it. He froze. Victor Lang was nowhere. Rumors said he'd lawyered up and gone radio silent. Hal set the box down with trembling hands. Inside, shredded paper. Someone had run every original ledger through a cross-cut shredder. But the confetti was fresh, still smelled like toner. I held up a strip. Bridge removal, $8, $500. Digital never forgets, I said, tapping the projector. The spreadsheet glowed. 7:30 a.m. We voted on the spot. Remove Hal as treasurer. Unanimous. Freeze all HOA accounts. 36-0. Hal abstained. Demand full forensic audit. Carried. Mrs. Delgado nominated me interim president. I tried to decline. The room booed. Motion passed 35-1. Hal voted present. 8:05 a.m. The bank manager, my old Little League coach, called. Jonah, 3 accounts in the HOA name. Combined balance, $1,403,221. I've locked them per your signed resolution. Feds are on hold. Want your okay to release. I looked at the crowd. 37 nods. Release them. 8:17 a.m. FBI agent Ramirez arrived with a warrant and a grin. Nice ledger, Mr. President. We'll take the box of confetti too. Shredders leave patterns. 9 a.m. News vans lined the road like a carnival. Jenna Valdez live-streamed the vote count. Hashtag DragonTailTango trended #1 worldwide. A crypto bro minted an NFT of the bridge. Proceeds to the defense fund. 10:11 a.m. Karen's plane ticket was canceled. Costa Rica requires extradition treaties. TSA flagged her at Atlanta. She was in federal holding, sunglasses confiscated. Noon. We held a press conference on the bridge. I stood at the brass plaque, neon pages fluttering like prayer flags. Zarila Ridge HOA is under new management. Fines forgiven. Dues suspended until audit. The bridge stays. Cheers. Someone released biodegradable balloons shaped like dragons. 1:07 p.m. A courier delivered a certified letter. Return address. Federal prison. Inside, a single playing card. Queen of Spades. Eyes scratched out, back scrawled in Sharpie. You'll never find the offshore. I laughed, pinned it next to the original on the fridge. Underneath, Lila added, we already did. 2:30 p.m. The forensic accountant arrived, hired by the defense fund, paid in Dragon's Tail Stout. She traced the $1.4 million through 6 shell companies, ending in a Cayman account under Zarila Preservation Trust, K. Whitmore, trustee. Seizure papers filed by 3 o'clock. For PM. Hal cracked. In exchange for immunity, he handed over a second safe hidden under the clubhouse floorboards. Inside, $87,000 cash in HOA envelopes that a burner phone with text to Karen. Fire started. Treehouse only. Per plan. A flash drive labeled insurance. The video on it. Karen, Hal, and Victor in the clubhouse basement, December 1st, 2024. Karen, if the bridge guy pushes, we burn the platform. Blame faulty wiring. Insurance pays. Reserve stays hidden. Hal, what if he has cameras? Karen, then we own the cameras. 5:15 p.m. Arrest warrants issued for Karen, already in custody. Hal walked out in cuffs. Victor picked up at his mother's. Charges: embezzlement, conspiracy, arson, wire fraud, destruction of evidence. 6 p.m. The bridge got a new plaque, crowdfunded bronze. Dragon's Tail Bridge. Built by a father. Defended by a village. Owned by the truth. EST 2025, indestructible. 7 p.m. We held a potluck on the far bank. Mrs. Delgado brought lemon bars. Tommy grilled steaks. Then Gwynn's set up a bounce house. Kids swung from the rope ladder while parents toasted with Dragon's Tail Stout. Someone started a fire in a safe pit permitted. Sparks rose like tiny dragons. I looked across the creek at my house. Lights warm, kids laughing. The ledger was secret no more. The dragon had teeth. Tomorrow the audit began. Tonight, we celebrated. Saturday, 8 a.m. The clubhouse parking lot looked like a county fair. Folding tables groaned under crock-pots of chili, trays of lemon bars, and a sheet cake iced with Karen Who in electric blue. Someone had parked a flatbed trailer as a stage. A local bluegrass trio tuned banjos while kids chased each other with pool noodle swords. A banner stretched across the cinder block wall. Town Hall. The people versus the clipboard. I stood at the door in jeans and the same flannel I'd worn the night of the midnight raid. Interim president, sure, but I still smelled like creek water and coffee. Mrs. Delgado handed me a megaphone and a stack of neon ledger pages. Time to read the charges, Mr. President. 8:30 a.m. 211 residents crammed inside. Latecomers watched on a projector screen outside. FBI agent Ramirez leaned against the back wall, arms crossed, nodding approval. Jenna Valdez livestreamed from the bridge, split screen with the clubhouse. Hashtag Dragon Tail Reckoning hit 3 million impressions. I took the stage. Agenda, 1 item. Truth. I clicked the remote. The first slide, the $1.4 million ledger. Every Whitmore payment circled in red. Gasps. Phones rose like periscopes. Slide 2, the shredded confetti box. Slide 3, the safe under the floorboards. Photo time-stamped 4:12 p.m. yesterday. Slide 4, Hal's text, fire started. Treehouse only. Per plan. Mrs. Delgado stood. My Arthur's bench is still cracked. That $42,000 pool job cost $9,800. Where's my refund? Cheers. Someone started a chant. Show me the money. 9:05 a.m. Hal shuffled and wearing an orange jumpsuit, escorted by a deputy. The room hushed. He carried a legal pad, hands cuffed. Ramirez uncuffed him long enough to sign a plea deal. Full cooperation for reduced sentence. Hal's voice cracked. I kept records. Karen said it was administrative flexibility. I believed her. Then the bridge, she said scare tactics. I thought paint liens, not fire. He slid the pad across the table. 47 pages, handwritten duplicates of every digital entry, plus offshore routing numbers. 9:17 a.m. Victor Lang was next, via Zoom from Federal Holding. His lawyer tried to mute. The crowd booed until the feed unmuted. Victor, I forged the arsenic report. Karen paid me $5,000 cash. I thought it was just paperwork. Crowd, liar. Victor flinched. I'll testify. Just keep the dragons away. 9:30 a.m. Vote time. I read the motions aloud. Dissolve the current HOA board permanently. Raised hands. 211-0. Appoint an interim council of 7 residents. 2-year term. Full transparency. Nominations flew. Mrs. Delgado, Tommy, then Gwyn's, a retired CPA named Patel, a single mom from Lot 22, and me. I lost a vote to decline. 211-0. Freeze every past fine. Refund with 5% interest from the seized $1.4 million. The room erupted. Someone fired a confetti cannon, biodegradable, dragon-shaped. Declare Dragon's Tail Bridge a permanent community asset. 0 fees. Open to all residents. Standing ovation. Lila and Milo ran on stage, waving toy swords. 10:05 a.m. The forensic accountant, Ms. Patel, now council treasurer, took the mic. Seized assets, $1,403,221 cash, $87,000 from the safe, $1.1 million came in account, frozen. Total, $2,590,221. After legal fees and refunds, we project $1.8 million surplus. Proposals? Hand shot up. Fix every cracked bench, repaint the clubhouse, resurface the pool properly. Scholarship for Zarila Ridge kids. Annual Bridge Festival, Dragon's Tail Days. All passed unanimously. 10:30 a.m. Agent Ramirez stepped forward. Federal indictment drops Monday. Karen Whitmore faces 20 to 30 years. Hal and Victor, 5 to 7 with cooperation. The bridge is officially a cultural landmark. No demolition ever. Cheers shook the rafters. The banjo struck up Rocky Top. 11 a.m. We marched to the bridge, 200 strong, Jenna live streaming. I carried the new bronze plaque, still warm from the engraver. The old one was retired to the clubhouse wall like a retired jersey. Lila and Milo held the cord. On 3. 1, 2. Dragon. The plaque dropped into place. Dragon's Tail Bridge. Community asset. EST 2025. We built it. We saved it. We own it. Confetti cannons. Dragon-shaped balloons. Someone released a sky lantern. It rose like a phoenix. Noon. Karen's mugshot hit the news. Sunglasses gone. Hair limp. Orange jumpsuit matching Hal's. Caption: HOA president charged in $2.5 million embezzlement scheme. 1 p.m. The surplus fund, open applications. Mrs. Delgado's bench, fixed by sundown. Pool resurfacing, bids due Monday, public vote. First scholarship, $5,000 to the girl in the wheelchair who wanted a ramp. 3 p.m. A final envelope slid under my door. No return address. Inside, a Polaroid of the original Queen of Spades, now burned at the edges. On the back, in Karen's handwriting, "The Ridge will forget." I won't. I pinned it next to the fridge gallery, between Lila's dragon drawing and the refund check for my $350 fine, now $367.50 with interest. 5 p.m. The festival began. Food trucks, face painting, a bounce house shaped like a castle. Tommy fired up the grill. The Gwynns ran a snow cone stand. The Bluegrass Trio played Wagon Wheel while kids swung from the rope ladder. 7 p.m. Sunset painted the creek gold. I stood on the bridge with the new council, cups of dragon's tail, stout raised. Mrs. Delgado, to Arthur's bench. Tommy, to honest work. Me, to the dragon that never slept. Fireworks, permitted, professional, lit the sky. The final burst formed a perfect dragon, wings spread over the ridge. 9 p.m. The feds called. Offshore accounts cracked, wide open. Karen's last text from Holding. Tell Hale the dragon wins this round. I smiled at the lanterns still swaying on the bridge. Round? Lady, this was the whole fight. 10 p.m. The crowd thinned. Kids fell asleep on blankets. I carried Milo home. Lila walked beside me, clutching a dragon balloon. At the porch, she looked back. Daddy, is the bridge safe now? I knelt. Safer than ever. It's ours. She hugged my neck. Then the dragons can sleep. Inside, the fridge glowed under the gallery of evidence and art. I added one last item. A photo of the new plaque, 211 thumbs-up stickers plastered across it. The reckoning was over. The ridge was awake. And the dragon? It finally closed its eyes. Sunday, 6 a.m. The ridge woke to silence. No sirens, no drones, no clipboards. Just birds and the soft hush of creek over stone. I brewed coffee on the porch, watching mist curl off Dragon's Tail Bridge like dragon breath in reverse. The new plaque caught the first light. Community Asset. EST 2025. 211 thumbs-up stickers glittered like scales. 6:30 a.m. Mrs. Delgado arrived with lemon bars and a manila envelope. Courier left it at my door by mistake. Addressed to you. No stamp. My name in block letters. Inside, a single brass key and a Polaroid. The original Queen of Spades, unburned, eyes intact. On the back, in fresh ink. Some doors never close. K. I turned the key over. Heavy, old, stamp ZR00. The Ridge's original developer used numbered master keys for maintenance sheds. This one predated Karen. 7 a.m. The council met on the bridge, pajamas and coffee mugs. I showed the key. Tommy recognized the stamp. That opens the old pump house under the ridge. Been locked since '95. Thought it was filled in. 7:15 a.m. We hiked the service road. Me, Tommy, Mrs. Delgado, Patel the CPA, and Sheriff Mike for good measure. The pump house was a concrete box, half swallowed by kudzu, door rusted shut. The key slid in like it had been waiting. Click. Inside smelled of damp stone and secrets. A single bulb flickered on, motion sensor still juiced. Concrete stairs spiraled down. We descended. Basement level, a vault door, combination lock. Tommy knelt. Same as the safe, 0-3-1-7. Spin. Click. The vault was a banker's fever dream. 47 steel drawers, labeled by year. Ledgers older than the HOA. Starting 1987. Deeds showing the original developer sold the same lots twice. A cassette tape labeled insurance. Play only if I'm gone. Patel opened 2025. Inside, a single flash drive and a note in Karen's handwriting. Phase 2 begins when the dragon sleeps. Check the bridge at midnight, November 13th. Today's date, 8 a.m. Back at the clubhouse, we played the cassette on a boom box from the Lost and Found. Static. Then a man's voice, gravelly, older. If you're hearing this, Karen's plan worked. The HOA was never about rules. It was a land grab. Easements, liens, foreclosures, buy low, sell high. The bridge was the test. If she took it, Phase 2 flips the ridge to a resort conglomerate. My signature's on every deed. Burn this place down with truth. Click. End tape. The developer. Dead since 2004. Karen had been his protege. 9 a.m. FBI swooped in. Ramirez with a new warrant. The vault was federal evidence now. But the flash drive? Karen's endgame. Patel cracked the encryption in 12 minutes. Files. Blueprints for a 200-room luxury lodge, Zarila Ridge Resort and Spa. Signed contracts with a shell company in Dubai. Demolition permits pre-filed for every private structure, including my bridge, a countdown timer. 14 hours, 59 minutes. Label. Auto transfer ownership at midnight. Irrevocable. 10 a.m. The ridge mobilized. Every resident got a text. Bridge. Noon. Bring tools. Jenna Valdez went live nationwide. Hashtag Save the Dragon hit #1 global. Noon. 500 people packed the banks. Kids were dragging masks. Someone brought a welder. Tommy fired up his backhoe. We weren't tearing the bridge down. We were anchoring it. Plan. Pour concrete footings under each support. Permanent. Unremovable. Weld steel plates across the planks. Rated for 50 tons. File emergency injunction. Patel's cousin was a federal judge. 1 p.m. Cement trucks rolled in, donated by a contractor who'd lost his dad to an HOA lien. Volunteers mixed by hand. Kids painted the wet concrete with handprints. Lila signed hers in red. Mine. 3 p.m. The welder sparked. Steel hissed. The bridge groaned, then settled, like a dragon flexing wings. 5 p.m. Injunction granted. Resort deal frozen. FBI seized the Dubai accounts. $47 million traced to the original developer's estate. Karen's last card, played and burned. 7 p.m. Sunset Festival Part 2. Fireworks, stout lemon bars. The bridge glowed with string lights shaped like dragon scales. A new plaque, crowd-funded titanium. Dragon's Tail Bridge. Indestructible. Community-owned. Forever. 10 p.m. The ridge quieted. Kids asleep on blankets. I walked the bridge alone, boots echoing on steel. The creek sang its old song. I checked my watch, 11:57 p.m. 11:59 p.m. A low rumble, not thunder. The ground trembled. From the pump house vault, a red light blinked once, twice, then died. The timer hit 0. Midnight, November 13th. Nothing. No transfer. No resort. Just crickets and creek. I exhaled. The dragon slept. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A single text. Phase 3 was always the ridge itself. Check the water. Signed. K. I knelt, shone my flashlight into the creek. The water was wrong. A faint sheen like oil. I dipped a finger. Metallic. Bitter. Upstream, where the creek entered the ridge, a pipe I'd never seen jutted from the bank. New, black PVC, pumping something clear and viscous into the flow. A sticker on the pipe. ZR00. The key. The vault. The water. I ran. The pump house door hung open. Inside, the vault was empty, drawers gutted, wires cut. A single sticky note on the wall. Dragons can't swim in poison. Enjoy the resort. Sirens wailed. Mike Ramirez hazmat. The creek carried the sheen downstream. Past the bridge, past the handprints, past everything we'd fought for. Karen wasn't in custody. She'd never left the ridge. The final twist. The dragon wasn't the bridge. It was the water, and it was dying. Smash that like button if you want the sequel. Zarila HOA. Poison Creek. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop your city in the comments. The dragon's just getting started.